Ah, hello, and welcome to my first build showcase of many. If you haven't already seen my two videos prior, I heavily encourage watching them first for some more context. In this video, I'll be covering my vineyard estate, being my first big build on the server. I plan to tour through the entirety of the interior and exterior, eventually covering how I integrate command blocks into my builds. Now, we have lots to cover, so let's begin. Okay, so welcome to the vineyard estate. And I'd just like to mention a few things first. Number one, the walls are inspired by Dr. Rat's lodge base in their server content SMP. So I got that sort of design from them. And this world I am recording in is not my server. It is its own isolated world because the server is running near constantly at half to quarter speed due to the amount of command blocks, the amount of redstone, and the amount of just blocks and builds in general, I assume. So I chose to showcase this build in its own isolated world, which I have managed to do through the use of Axiom. I've brought over the build. I'm doing it this way because it just makes the actual flow of the video a bit better, and I don't get lag interruptions when I'm trying to showcase something that relies of such. Okay, so let's begin. Welcome to the foyer. So this foyer includes a jukebox in case you want to play some music. I typically enjoy playing music when my friends and I have done a few hide and seeks in here, so it's it just adds some background noise. We've got the kitchen. It's got a fridge, and I store all my food supplies in here. No, really. I put everything in its own dedicated storage box in a way. There's sugar in there, there's cookies and eggs in this one. Things like that. Meats and everything in there. In the fridge. Along with the dishwasher. Over here we have the main hall, and I really wanted a room with big windows because, well, you can't see it now, but you will see it at some point because I wanted a frame for the backdrop that I planned, and you won't be able to see it now because I'm in an isolated world, so you won't be able to see the full view, but later I'll show a view of the full frame, and you'll just see a few more things that should be cooler. Anyway, these dark buttons that you see throughout the estate all work as light switches, and this is through command block, wireless command block. So basically I used an execute if block command to check if this block is powered. Well, this button is powered, and if it is, it toggles the system, and for this room's case, and any room that includes a lantern or etc., it summons a fake lantern at the location of the actual lanterns, and that fake lantern doesn't produce light. The fake lanterns being block displays. You may have heard of them before if you are fond or are even just a little bit into the more technological side of Minecraft. And this works for any room, like this little bar here. It also works. there. Anyway, let's move on to the next room. Over here, we have the living room / gaming room. Includes a pool table, pinball, arcade machines, etc. It also comes with a side toilet, just in case. It's the only toilet that isn't associated with a bedroom on the ground floor. Here we have a fireplace, a double-sided fireplace, both for the dining room and for this little couch here. You can turn it on and off through also wireless command block magic. Over here we have the actual, well, TV part of the living room. I would imagine this TV could be pulled out and angled towards the couch. And, well, when it's not needed anymore, it could be stowed against the wall. Large bookshelf. Over here, we have my fish tank. And they really love it here. Anyway, moving on. Up there, you may notice a bunch of mangrove roots. That is to represent what is called a loft net. If you don't know what a loft net is, I recommend searching it up. It's a kind of stretched piece of, well, net that goes above an area such as this, and you can lay down on it, sit down on it, you can bring a blanket on it, pillows, whatever else, and yeah, it can be quite cozy. Alright, moving on to the other side, we have the display room. It includes a little statue of Steve and a zombie fighting. We've got the original dragon egg of the server. I linked a command block to this area, and if it detects a falling block that's a dragon egg, it'll teleport that falling block back to the podium. It doesn't work if the dragon egg teleports directly onto another block, because it skips the falling block stage and it doesn't become an entity. But if it does try to teleport to somewhere and then starts falling, when it falls, it just gets teleported back to the podium. To prevent griefing, I guess. Over here we have the guest bedroom, the only place where I use dead coral on a carpet. I love inconsistency. I am kidding. That is sarcastic. Oh, sarcasm. Mixing up my words. Over here we have the ensuite bathroom. Includes a shower, as well as a dressing area. To the left of this sliding door, we have the laundry basement. It includes the majority of things you would need for laundry, along with a little storage room over here with a broken part of the wall. We'll get to that in another episode. Back upstairs, into the trophy room. In this corner, we get a little staircase down to the studio. The studio includes just where the, computers are. It's a bit more of a, you could also bring down art supplies, and yeah, it's an art studio, recording studio, whatever. Yeah. Now, let's move up to the second floor, or the first floor of the house. We have a bedroom. Ignore that I said that. A bathroom here. Sorry, I was too busy thinking of the next thing. Here we have what I can presume is a little girl's room. It's up to interpretation, really. We have a little dollhouse, a toy chest, a couple plushies. Over here is what I can describe as a teenage boy's room. This kid seems to be rather fond of lockpicking as a hobby. They also have a walk-in closet, far too big for their actual room, but they just got lucky, I guess. Alright, moving on to the next room, we have a nursery for an infant. Over here we have a library and a nice seating area to read your books at. Under these stairs, there's also a tiny little couch. You'd also like to read there. Over here we have a table and couch perfectly positioned for those sorts of card games and board games, if that's something you'd like. We have this linen closet for the board games and some blankets, pillows, whatever else. Over here we have the top of the loft net. It has its own TV, bookcase and everything. This is the master bedroom. It comes with its own closet, Alaskan king size bed, which is the largest commercially available mattress size available, or bed size available. It also has its own set of, own TV and set of speakers. Comes with the bathroom, the luxurious shower. And moving on out of that room, we have these buttons up here on the ceiling. These buttons here on here is also found on the other side, and they, when pressed, bring down an attic ladder that, upon climbing up, you find yourself in any space. Welcome to what I can only describe as a granny flat within an attic. My reason for building this is that I just imagined that if for some reason you were to invite a lot of people over, you would have a lot of space for letting people sleep over for the night, as that's kind of a restriction, especially with smaller houses. It has its own kitchen, dining table, bed, TV, and if you count this ladder here, it has its own reading nook, which is quite cozy. It has its own loft net too. Moving back on down, I'll head to the other side. On the other side, we have an attic that's themed more around the stereotypical spooky attic. So it's quite dark up here. It's got all these little kind of passageways. Up top here, don't ask what. There's a couch up here. Don't ask how they got it up here either. It's got quite a nice view of the front. And over this way, we can find a rather ominous book on a podium overlooking the side garden. Going back down, we'll head to the third attic now. This place is too many. On the other side of the library, there is the staircase that, if you head up, you'll find yourself in the third attic, which includes its own couch, table, its own bed, and a D&D table. Back here, it has some extra storage for things related to that. such as more character sheets and whatever. Down here, there's just a inset mattress to the floor. Don't know why. Just thought it would be cozy. I just kind of let my imagination run wild with the design of this place. Okay, so we'll move on to the exterior now, starting in the front yard. Right below this staircase, there is a door. And outside of that door, we have the outdoor dining area, which, as you can see, has its own fireplace and barbecue. Over here we have the car park. And over here... Oh, wait, hang on, let me go the other way around. As you get to see something this way. If I head left here, we'll find ourselves at the workshop. This workshop includes its own desktop PC, linked to a few 3D printers, CNC machine, and it also has, well, a bounce sander, and table saw blade, if for some more carpentry or metalworks. This gate here allows for the bringing in of resources or materials to build such projects. And this parking lot is for this, well, the family that would live in this place. This is family business. As this is a vino estate, they have their own little restaurant where they serve their own wine along with food, where guests can reserve a booking and can spend a night with what I'd imagine candlelit, looking over a nice vineyard. It's got its own playground, or if they've brought kids, and underneath is some aging kegs and barrels with the pool filtering equipment, as the pool is just on the other side of that wall. Heading through here, we have the propane tanks for the house, for the stove, etc. The chopping block for the wood. 2 doors, one that leads into the guest bedroom on the ground floor and one that leads into the display room. That lead to the pool with easy access. Has its own hot tub too. We're coming down here, we have the garden. The garden includes a selection of peonies, lilacs, and roses, along with an assortment of other flowers, with a nice willow tree in the center. Down here, we have a nice little boat shed that I've filled with a few little decorations, such as some fishing rods, a tackle box, and a boat on its own little trailer to push directly into the water. We have some rainwater drains, I guess is the only way to describe them. Here we have a granny flat, a real one this time, not one in an attic. It has its own assortment of rooms in the interior. I'm not going to look too much into it now because, well, I'm also going to try to keep this short. And here's the treehouse with its neighboring swing set. The treehouse is 2 slides, one open top slide, being the blue one, and one tunnel slide being the red one. And the swing set works. If I am to hop onto this invisible pig, I start swinging. It's just kind of fun. There's a little patio there. And down here we have a dog kennel, which is where I store my in-game dogs. They're just from over the years. We have Brutinetron Isosovereign the first, Brutinetron Isosovereign the second, Brutinetron Isosovereign the third, Brutinetron Isosovereign the fourth, Brutinetron Isosovereign the fifth, Brutinetron Isosovereign the sixth, and Brutinetron Isosovereign the seventh. Yeah. And if we make our way back to the front, I'd like to conclude this tour. So, now, although the tour may be finished, I'm gonna do a few other things. So, firstly, I'm gonna show off some of the command block mechanisms that I made associated with this place, and I'm also gonna show you some progress screenshots from over the years of me building this. But if you're not interested in that sort of thing, then feel free to click off now. Anyway, if you stayed, well, welcome to this part of the video. Okay. You'll see me back down in the, well, not back, but you'll see me down in the command block room. See you there. Okay, and welcome to the command room for my vineyard estate. Ooh, some spoilers for the next video. Ah. Okay, so here I will be showcasing some of the systems related to the said vineyard estate. Sorry, need to find the perfect speed. You know what? It's fine. So, this is all these command blocks here are related to the lighting, and each of these are a different set of lights. Each of these individual rows, single block wide rows. They are dispersed into zones. Starting from up here, we just have like the main ground floor, and then over here also some ground floor, and then the second floor, it's got everything on the second floor. I don't really need to describe everything. And it's got the attics, etc. It's got the, yeah. So how this works is, firstly, it starts with, let's use the workshop as an example. So it just checks to see if I have clicked a button like this, and if so, I just use this as an example. Well, no, I can just go up there and use my recam down there. And upon pressing that button, you will see that this toggles. So it powers this one instead of this one, turning off the redstone torch. Easy, quick. It also plays that sound effect through this command block here. These are the only ones that actually affect the lighting. That one's just cosmetic. And if I flick it again, it does the opposite. And this works like this. Ta-da. The little thing I did here is that these are full blocks, these are half slabs. And where I did the lights is that they are block displays that I've shrunk and just used light blocks to fill in the air. with. Yeah. Things like this work pretty much exactly the same. Except things like this, automatic command block doors, are made with what is basically stop motion. And the way this works is I make some, frames that the command blocks then use through the clone command in a sequence to make things move. And that's what all of these things here are. They're all individual frames, such as the attic ladder that you may recognize. And these up here are related to such. So this is an attic ladder, this is an attic ladder, and then this is the fireplace. Because up here, there are 2 buttons that can activate this. There's one that then sets a redstone block here. I'm still yet to change this, sorry. Just came across this inefficiency because I'm still ever evolving with command blocks, and well, when I first made this almost a year and a half ago, I don't yet know how to take comparator signals out of command blocks. So now that I know that, I should probably fix that. Anyway, that's how I made that work. And all of these individual light switches, as I said, work. Well, let me show you how it looks when they're all off collectively via pressing this button. And now if we take a look at the manor, vineyard state, you can see all the lights are off, except for a few that are like candles and things. The swimming pool itself, it works off a daylight detector through here that transmits the signal to the redstone lamps. So that's on a separate grid. As for the swing set, down below, I have a set of minecarts that go back and forth, and if it detects a player, so riding at the pig, this is not optimized at all. I could do this so much better now, but again, this is rather old. Not as old as the fireplace, but still pretty old. Yeah, it then checks at the pig's location, because the swings are invisible pigs. Checks if there's a rider within, well, it's a rider within 1 block, and it just checks if it is riding the pig. And then as the minecart, and at the minecart's position, it then teleports the pig exactly 16 blocks above the minecart. And because the minecart is always moving like this, it just teleports the pig exactly 16 blocks above this, like that. And then this just resets the pig after it detects that there's no rider. Pretty easy. Okay, and now let me show some progress screenshots. See you there. Okay, and if you're seeing this, you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I just can't say it enough. Yeah, this video has taken quite a lot of energy to make and produce. I've already missed a deadline. Well, yeah, I hope to see you in the next one, which will be about the surrounding area. Maybe something else, but I have to see what I feel about it in the future. Okay, well, see you. Bye-bye.